Hey everybody, James with Love My Pups, My British Supply. So you know the deal here, we want you to subscribe. Maybe by the end of it, if you haven't subscribed, you'll decide that's a good thing to do. All right, so Steve, one of my customers, called me up the other day and said, hey, give me some information on how to choose a vet. And he says, you should do a video on that. It's like, okay, I haven't done a video on that. So let's do a video on how you should choose a vet. And a point here, if you've got things that you'd like me to do videos on, drop me a line. You can do it through the YouTube thing on the bottom there, and to make suggestions. There's about 800 videos that I've put together, so the majority of things that you asked for, I've probably already done videos on it. So you might do a little research to see whether or not there's not a video there already. Okay. And to that point, all the comments are always welcome all the time, even negative ones, as long as they're constructive negative ones. Okay, so. First off, I'm going to say that, I just freeform all of these, so I'm a bit jumpy around on how I get things done. But, right, so there you go, I've got like 8 topics there, so we're going to go through these. Okay, so how do you choose a vet? Well, I put the word plural vets, because if you're like me and you're doing French Bulldogs, and you're doing C-sections, you definitely want to have more than one vet that you can call, because guess what? They go on vacation. Some of them don't do things at night when you might need an after-hours service. Some of them don't do things on the weekend. So to have more than one vet, if you're into this significantly, I think that behooves you to not get caught with your pants down. What's the first thing? Well, I think the first thing is find out what other people are recommending. There's nothing like word of mouth. So recommendations. There's nothing like word of mouth for people who've had experience with a particular vet. And I never go off one thing, especially if it's negative, because look, people can have problems occasionally, but if you've got positive feedback and 90% of people say, oh, Dr. Smith's wonderful, then Dr. Smith is probably wonderful. So I think that's the first thing. Start off by talking to people who use a particular vet and ask what their experience is. And there's things like Yelp and other things on the internet that give recommendations. And again, I don't look for anybody with a perfect record. What I look for, it's like on Amazon. What do I look for? I look for somebody with a 4-star rating or higher that's got 30 reviews or more. I feel like I'm getting the real answer. All right. So the next thing is we've got this COVID thing going on, and this kind of impacts it a little bit. I think some of the vets are being a little harsh on us on the way they treat COVID. I've got one vet where out of the 4 vets that I used, one of them where you can't walk into his office, you have to wait outside, you call up the number, they come pick the dog up. There's no interaction with the vet whatsoever at all. I don't like it. So don't like that. I think that they're using this kind of as an excuse to kind of really keep the customers away and make it easier for them. They have to deal with the customers. I don't like that. So that's the next thing is personality. I mean, you're going to meet these people. What do you think about the people? Are they personality? How's the staff? Are they friendly? Do they listen to you? How's the vet? Do you get to visit with the vet? How is he? Look, I'm not there to make friends with the vet. I'm there to get good vet service. So the fact that the guy might be short and not have much time for me, that is fine. I just want somebody who will take my questions and give me sensible answers. So, and on that front, when you go to your vet and you've got a particular problem, get yourself armed with the information. Don't just give them a dog and expect them to sort the problem out. Give them as much reasonable, concise information. If necessary, write down a piece of paper, especially if you can't go in. Write down, and you don't want to write pages and pages. I get things from people, and I mean, it's like pages and pages of stuff. It's like, I don't have time for this. I've got other things to do. Give me a short paragraph on what the issue is, what you've done, what the history is, and what you think the problem is, and maybe what the next steps are. Give them some feedback on how to get started. So the point here on this personality and accessibility is, don't expect to go in there and sit down for an hour with the vet, because that's probably not happening. And if it does happen, he's not going to like seeing you next time. Be concise, be polite, be accurate, ask sensible questions. All right, personality. I like people who are friendly. Okay. Accessibility. So this can be a problem. Accessibility, that's an L. If they use spelling buffs out, they're not going to like what I'm doing. Accessibility. Look, you just got a routine thing that needs to be done. It doesn't have to be done today. Crap, you know, don't have to go in today. So, but if you've got an emergency, how are they going to treat you? If you've got a problem, it needs to be done right now. What is the accessibility? And along with that is how do they treat after hours? Is there somebody available after hours? If it's a big veterinary practice, they've probably got a junior staff members who man the phones after hours to take care of emergency situations. So, you know, you want to have a vet who can respond to you after hours, and that's why you may have more than one vet. You may have John Smith, who's just an older guy like me. He's a great vet, but he only does things till 5 o'clock, and after 5 o'clock, he's not answering the phone. And you're doing French Bulldogs, you've got to have a C-section, you need to have A1 veterinary care clinic available too, so that you can take care of those problems after hours. So find out about after hours. So accessibility, how easy is it to get in? How far ahead do you have to book? Number 5, let's get some prices. Let's find out what they charge for this stuff. You don't want to get caught with very expensive bills. I'll give you an example, C-sections. I can get a C-section done in one of the vets around here, he's in Texas, for $232 for a C-section. That's an incredible deal. I get 2 vets. They're older folks like me. They're very good at it. They're super nice people, very accessible. They get great marks on all of this. The only thing they don't get the best marks on is after hours can be a bit difficult sometimes with them. They have other commitments, and so, you know, it's fair enough. But the point here is $232. In New York, you can pay $6,000 for an emergency vet visit after hours. So find out ahead of time, especially if you know you're going to do things like C-sections. Can they do C-sections? Do they do? Well, let's just talk about the next thing. So let's just talk about, so there's prices. Let's talk about 6, specifically C-sections. Well, actually, I'm gonna back it up there a second because I'm trying to get to some sensible order. I think the next thing is in-house testing. So for those of us who are doing breedings, a lot of us want to get progesterone results. Some of these places a lot of places have to send off the blood to get a progesterone test, and it can take up to 3 days for results. Total waste of time. To get results on a blood test after 3 days, completely meaningless. What you want is somebody who does in-house testing if you're using progesterone tests to time your AIs. And by the way, if you're doing much of this, you know what you should do? You should be buying the FineCare OneFlow progesterone machine from us. It's a fantastic product, and it will absolutely get you on top of this stuff. Not only save you money, save you time, but get you bigger litters and safer C-sections. But in-house testing, do they do in-house testing? Do they have a pharmacy? No, this is not so critical, but those of them who've got a pharmacy, that's pretty useful if you've got medication. It doesn't have to be sent in, they've already got it there. All right. And then, in this in-house testing for progesterone test, the price range from this is the low end of about 40 to a high end of about 200. And if you've got to have 5 tests done, it's costing $200. You just got $1,000 in tests. You could have bought a machine for $27.95 and had a third of the machine paid for already. All right. Okay. Number 7, for those of us having C-sections, this is super important. So not only, something I didn't say here is the beginning of all this, is the first thing that you should do after you've decided that you're interested in a vet is to go have a visit. See if you can look inside the facility. Is it clean? Are the people inside friendly? Can you visit with the doc and have a 2-minute conversation to see what his personality is like? All of these things are this pre-thing before you ever get hooked up with somebody as part of finding out what they're about. Okay, C-sections. So do they do lots of C-sections on the kinds of animals that you're talking about? Not necessarily French Bulldogs, but smaller dogs if it's a small dog. Do they do them often? Do they do a couple a week? If they do, then they're probably a good candidate for you. If they do them seldom, then I would check on the rest of the stuff. All right, so C-sections. Okay, philosophy. So what I'm talking about here is what's their modus operandi? How do they, I like a vet. Look, yeah, I'm pretty well educated on this. So when I go talk to a vet, I like to think I know what I'm talking about so I can have a sensible conversation with the vet. Some vets don't want that. They don't want to have a conversation with me. They just don't have time for it. They don't want to listen to what I'm saying. They're off my list. Not going to use them. I want a vet that I can have a sensible conversation about what various things we might do and who's open to my suggestions, because I'm certainly open to their suggestions. So I'm not saying that I know everything about it. I don't. That's why I'm at the vet. But at the same time, if somebody comes up with a solution and I don't think the solution makes sense, I want to have a conversation in a very polite manner as to where there might be some alternatives. So I want to see what their philosophy is. And then the other thing about this philosophy is some of these vets think that we are all should be drug out in the street and shot if we're breeding dogs. They want to spay every dog that they see. They don't think we should be breeding dogs. That's not the vet for me. You need to find that out early if that's what you're doing. If you're not breeding dogs, that's not relevant. But if you're breeding dogs and the vet doesn't think you should be doing it, you probably need to be finding a different vet. Because the kind of thing that happens is you get pushed into spaying the dog when they do a C-section. Sometimes they'll even do this, maybe claim there's something else, complications that they need to spay the dog, and that's, you ahead of time, you want to be prepped up to make sure that you're not in one of those facilities, in my opinion. Okay, so then that's kind of basically the process that we go through. We have 4 vets that we use. Why do we have 4 vets? Is it because we don't like 3 of them? No. It's because they get busy, they go on vacation, they can't do a C-section after hours, they can't do a C-section that day. 4 vets is a good thing because you certainly need to have a plan B. Look, I think 2 vets is fine. Start out by getting, especially if you're going to be doing C-sections, start off by having at least 2 guys on your preferred list. And obviously you need to build a relationship up. Build a relationship up with one of these vets, and then have the other guys to stand by, give them a little bit of work and make sure that you like him or her. I'm being sexist here. We have one lady out of Weatherford. Her name is Dr. Marilyn Wogamoth. She's fantastic. We have 2 vets in Wheeler, Texas Veterinary Clinic, and that's a husband and wife team. And Leanna, the wife, is absolutely wonderful lady. She's so sweet. And the husband is he's a super nice guy too. And then there's a vet over in Arapahoe, Oklahoma, and that's the Arapahoe Vet Clinic. And they have a really big facility, and they have multiple doctors, of which about half of those are lady doctors. So I don't want to sound sexist on this because, obviously, well, enough said on that. Anyway, but the point here is 1 vet is not enough, 2 is good. And look, develop a relationship if you do enough of this, and that's why we have 4 vets, and we love them all. They're all great people. Some of them have their strengths and some of them have their weaknesses, and we play off those to decide who we're going to go to. Some of them are much closer, some of them are further away. The further away ones have a lot lower price on a C-section, but they're not always available. You can see how it goes. So I think I've rambled on way too long on this. But certainly the choice of your vet is an important thing. It's like everything else that you do in the medical field for yourself. The choice of your doctor, maybe the choice of your dentist. You have a feel about these things. Learn about your vets the same way that you do that. Subscribe to us. We want to do more of this. Subscribe to us. Go check out My Breeder Supply. We have fantastic products that will make your business more successful, have bigger litters, time C-sections correctly, and have healthier puppies. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.